Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. Today is going to be another one brand testing video. The brand that I am going to be trying today is called Note Cosmetics. I feel like I saw an advertisement or something like on Instagram for this brand, and obviously being naturally curious about new makeup brands, I obviously investigated, and yeah, I saw that they had a full range of makeup products, and I was like, yeah, we're doing a video on that. I want to try those products. Some of them look pretty cool. I believe they have like a BB cream that's quite popular. Like I feel like a lot of people have used it. I didn't get the BB cream because I'm not personally into like light coverage stuff because I have acne. I think that's one of their sort of viral products, but yeah, I've got a full face from this brand and I'm gonna go ahead and whack that on today and see what my thoughts are. If it seems like I'm rushing a little bit for this video, it's because I'm going out and my friends are already out, so I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible so that I can go out. I'm just very unorganized because I only have so many days a week where I can film videos, and yeah, I'm just all over the place, but let's just get into the video. So as always, we're going to start with concealer. So this is their full coverage liquid concealer, and I got mine in 01 Ivory, which was the lightest shade. This is what it looks like. Cute little packaging. It's got a pretty standard sized doe foot, not very exciting. I just love a big doe foot, you see, but this will do. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to test this out in my eye area just so I can see what the coverage is like on bare skin without foundation, and then I'll probably use this as an eyeshadow base as well. But the colour is quite warm toned. It's definitely got some like yellow going on in there. It is pretty fair though, I would say, which is good because obviously I'm a ghost. So I'm just going to whack this on my under eye and my eyelid on this side just so we can see what it looks like next to a bare eye. Okay, so that's the two eyes side by side, so I'm just going to look up and look down. It's done I wouldn't say it's completely full coverage. It's done a pretty decent job. I did have to layer it a little bit. Like I feel like you can definitely notice the difference there. It has got a decent amount of coverage. I wouldn't say it's full coverage though. The formula seems pretty nice. It seems to have more of like a matte consistency, I would say. It looks fine, like it's pretty decent, but I feel like I'm all about full coverage concealer. I feel like it could have a little bit more coverage, but it's done a decent job. It's not too bad. Like I feel like it has, you know, minimized my veins, my bags, under my eyes. It's done a good job, but I love full coverage. You know me. So I'm just going to wipe this off my under eye, and I'm going to use it as a base for eyeshadow. Okay, so I've got my eyeshadow base. Moving on to eyeshadow itself, I have got a palette from them. It is the Love at First Sight palette. It looks like this. It's quite like a neutral palette. You've got some warm tones. You've got some nice shimmers in it. I do quite like the colour scheme. Like it's nothing too like exciting and adventurous, but I feel like it's got all of your sort of like essential shades, and it's got a nice distribution of like mattes and shimmers. It's also got a matte black and a matte white, which I feel like is essential in every palette. I feel like it's just a really good like sort of everyday kind of colour scheme, and I'm hoping that the quality is good. When I was like envisioning filming this video, I wanted to do like a sort of smoky kind of black liner and then sort of blend it out and then sort of use the eyeshadows to blend it out. So yeah, I've also got an eye pencil. So this is their smoky eye pencil in 01 Black. It's just a standard kohl eyeliner. So yeah, I had it in my head that like I'd start off by just sort of adding a load of black to the lash line, diffusing that out, and then just building off it with this. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes I do one eye off camera, but I think today I will just do it all on camera because a little short on time, and this will just be more fun. Let's go on this journey together, shall we? Okay, so I'm starting with my kohl pencil, and I'm going to start by applying this to the lash line area. Oh god, I'm already messing this up. And then we will sort of buff it out a bit. This does also have a smudgy bit on the other side, so I'll start with that to smudge it out. Okay, Okay, so this kohl liner is super like creamy and super pigmented, which is very good. I've gone a bit crazy on this eye. God, I don't know what I'm doing. Really did not mean to just... I'm a nightmare. I'm an absolute nightmare. Okay, so using the palette, I think I'm going to use this sort of bluey kind of shimmer up here. And I'm going to apply that in... I'm going to apply that like above and into that black. I have no idea what I'm doing here, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go use a brush and my finger a bit as well, I think. Now I'm going to use the matte black in this palette and I'm going to stomp that right on the lash line over the kohl liner to build back some intensity. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of this matte grey, I think, and just blend that above what we've done. I'm going to use this lighter orange I'm going to use this light orange and I'm going to blend that at the top of that. This is a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm hoping I can redeem it. I'm going to use the matte white and that's going in the brow bone area and to diffuse out that orange because I feel like I'm not sure if the orange was the best idea. And adding a bit more of the matte black to the outer corner. And I'm going to use a bit of the silver shimmer. Just get some of that on my finger. And it's going sort of kind of all over the lid really. In the inner corner a bit. That silver shimmer is really nice. I'm going to build up a little bit more black on the lash line. Okay, so I've just cleaned up the edge with a wipe and I think it has come together in the end. It's just a very kind of smoky look we've gone for here. I have to say, I feel like the eyeshadow performed really well, especially this like matte black. I feel like that's, obviously the eyeliner helped out a bit, but I feel like that matte black, really good. The silver shimmer, really pretty. The other two mattes I used, perfectly pigmented, perfectly blendable. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints about this eyeshadow palette. I feel it's done a good job. Obviously, I still haven't used all of the shades. I've definitely got more to play around with here. But from first use, yeah, it's a pretty decent eyeshadow palette. If you're just looking for sort of like a nude glam palette, I feel like it does a pretty good job. So I'm going to go back to my kohl pencil and I'm going to put this in my top and bottom waterlines as well. We're just going for a full smoky look today. I've got like an all black outfit on, so you know, let's just go full like dark grungy vibes, why not? I have to say from first use I'm really liking this kohl pencil as well. Like it's really creamy, like it glides on super smoothly, it's incredibly pigmented. Obviously the only thing I need to test is like how well does it wear, but literally this is probably one of the best ones I've tried all year in terms of like creaminess and pigmentation. Like, I mean, look at it, it's so dramatic. Hopefully it wears well, because if it does then that's probably going to be a new favourite black kohl liner. I did also get a black liquid liner, but I feel like I've already kind of done my sort of smoky thing on my lash line, so I don't really need a liquid liner. But I will obviously try this out at some point and probably use it in a video as well. Okay, we're going to move on to mascara now. They did actually have quite a few mascaras on their website. I ended up going for this one, which was the Lash Master mascara. It had good reviews, and oh god, that wand is incredibly chunky. So I'm hoping that this gives me some nice volume. Okay, so I've just given my eyelashes a curl. I'm going to go ahead and apply this Lash Master on my top waterline. Oh, I just realised it has a tiny bit of a curve in it as well. Cool. Yeah, let's just go for this. I'm hoping this gives me some good volume, because obviously I'm not going to be wearing falsies. So hopefully this just gives me some drama, because that's what I want for my lashes. Okay, I feel like that's actually done a pretty good job. I can definitely see some good volume there, some thickness. I feel like it has done a pretty good job. I think because obviously my eye makeup is quite heavy, I feel like it detracts on the lashes a little bit, but I definitely think it's done a good job. I don't know if I'm like completely in love with it, but sometimes it takes me a little while with mascaras anyway. But I feel like that's done a good job. Bear in mind that the one that is quite thick, and I know a lot of people don't like thick ones because it is a bit difficult to get like an intricate application. So so that might be an issue for some people, but I feel like I managed to apply it pretty decently in spite of that. I would say I like that mascara on first use. Okay, so we're going to move on to base now. We do actually have a primer. This is their Skin Perfecting Illuminator, which is like this. You get a lot of product, that's a massive bottle. I do like a glowy primer, so I'm hoping that just gives us a little bit of glow. It's a white sort of colour, that's a bit like a moisturiser kind of. So I'm going to whack a load of this on my old face. See what sort of glow we get with this. Okay, I think I've put a little bit too much on, which I kind of thought I might do. It's definitely very illuminating. You can definitely see like the glow on my skin. I feel like it's like looking a little bit oily, but I think that's my own fault because I put too much on. In the future I'd put like a little bit less on. But with that in mind, I feel like that's a pretty good primer. Like it's giving me glow, it's giving me hydration, illumination. It's got sort of like a moisturiser consistency, so it feels quite hydrating to apply. I would just say a little goes a long way, so don't drench your face in it because you will look a bit too oily, which I've kind of done. But at least I know now, so I can put less on in the future, because I feel like if I put less on, I'd be liking this a lot. Yeah, nice illuminating, hydrating primer that. Okay, so the foundation that I have, again, they have quite a few foundations, and they have like some BB creams and things like that as well. But I decided to go for the Mattifying Extreme Wear Foundation. This is the shade 103 Pale Almond. They had a pretty decent shade selection. It was one of those things where like the way they ordered the shades was a little bit confusing. It was hard to tell like what was the lightest and what was like the deepest. It was all kind of out of order, which was a little confusing. It does annoy me when brands do that. Just put it from like lightest to darkest or darkest to lightest. Don't just like mix it all up because it's confusing. I think I figured out that this was the palest one. I think this one is meant to be, this one's meant to obviously be matte and like probably one of them more higher coverage foundations, which is what I personally like. I got acne, I gotta cover it. I like matte. I know I've just put on like a glowy illuminator, but I do like a matte base. Okay, so that's what the shade looks like. I feel like that will probably be a pretty good match. I don't feel like I need to put anything in that. I feel like that's just gonna match me pretty well. Yeah, I think that's a good match, or close enough anyway. Like it doesn't seem too light or too orangey. It seems like it's just gonna match me pretty well, which is fantastic. We love that. Love it when that happens. So I'm going to whack this on. Again, I don't have time to really redo my makeup, so I'm hoping that this base looks nice and that I can wear it all night. So fingers crossed. I mean, shade-wise, we know we're not going to have a problem yet. So I'd say this foundation is probably more semi-matte, but then again it might just be like that primer because that was quite hydrating. coming through, so maybe it will look more matte without that or with less of it on. But it's definitely not like super dewy or anything like that. They obviously have dewier options if that is what you want. I feel like it looks nice on skin. I feel like it's giving good coverage, but I don't feel like it looks heavy. I feel like it looks quite lightweight. It feels quite lightweight, but it has still given like a decent amount of coverage. I wouldn't say it's completely full coverage, just because I can still see my spots coming through a bit, but I would say it's like a high medium coverage. Like, it has covered pretty well. I'm actually really liking this so far. I feel like maybe I'd like it a little bit more without that primer underneath, just because it is more semi-matte, and I just like it took a tiny bit more matte, but I think that's the primer. But I think it looks good. I think that's a pretty decent foundation, you know. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this brand. Nothing's disappointed me so far. So I'm going to go back to the concealer, which I definitely feel like that's darker than the foundation, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put some under my eyes and on my blemishes. Yeah, it's definitely like a different shade to the foundation, but oh well. I'm not going to have the brightest under eye. That's okay. I feel like the thing that I'm probably least impressed with is this concealer. I don't feel like it's added that much coverage really that I had before. Like, it's not awful or anything, but I just don't feel like it's as much coverage as I would like it to be. But it's not bad or anything. Okay, so this part I'm like a little bit worried about, setting powder. So I decided to go for the Luminous Silk Compact powder. I don't believe they actually had any loose powders. I think they just had pressed ones. I got it in 2 shades though, because I wasn't really sure which one was lighter. And the actual lightest shade, which I think was 01 Ivory, it was out of stock, so I had to go for some deeper ones. So I've got the shade 02 Natural Beige, which looks like that. I mean, it does look pretty fair, to be honest. It's probably more warm toned. And then I also got 04 Sand, because it actually looked like it was lighter online, but I don't know. Is it lighter? It's definitely very yellow. I don't know which one's actually lighter. They look pretty similar. I feel like that one's probably lighter. This one is more like yellowy. This one's kind of like a banana powder sort of shade. I think I'm going to stick with this one, which is 02. I'm hoping this doesn't make me super orange, because that's going to be a bit of a problem. See, usually I like to set my under eyes with a loose powder, but obviously I don't have one, so we are just going to set our whole face with the pressed powder and hope for the best. It did have good reviews, this powder, so... And again, I would have liked to have gotten the lighter shade, but it just wasn't available, I'm afraid. So it does come with a powder puff, but those are useless to me. So I'm going to start by setting my under eyes. I'm just using this sort of brush, and then I'll switch to a bigger brush and set the rest of my face. Here's hoping this doesn't make me orange, because I'm a bit apprehensive that it will. Just on putting that on my under eyes, I think you can see it does look a bit orangey. I'm gonna use it on the rest of my face anyway. Oh god, hopefully I can... Maybe with a bigger brush it might come out like less orangey, I think, because I'm using like a more compact brush. I've just got hair everywhere now. Right, let's just carry on and hope for the best. Okay, as you can see, I've turned orange. There must be something I can do to fix this, because I really don't have much time to redo my makeup, to be honest. Honestly, there is nothing I can fault with the formula. It's very smooth, it sets well, it's a good powder. If you can find a shade, I would actually say like the finish is really nice, but that colour just does not work for me. I could have done with that 0 Ivory shade. Even then, who knows if that shade would have worked. I'm going to see if I can find like a light powder that can maybe tap over that, because I can't go out with like orange face. That's such a shame, because the formula is actually really nice, but I look like an orange now. I don't know how well it shows on camera. It might not look as bad on camera, but if I had a foundation that was really pale and I used this, it might work. It might like balance it out, but the foundation matched me pretty well anyway, so it doesn't really work for this. I'm just getting a white translucent powder. I'm going to see if I can tap some of that over that and see if that maybe lightens it a bit. I'm not optimistic, but let's give it a go. Okay, this actually is helping a bit. I feel like it is starting to neutralise it a bit. I'm going to look a little bit heavy now because I'm putting 2 layers of powder on, but I want to kind of do this so that I don't have to redo my base, and that has actually helped a bit. That's actually helped quite well. I feel like it looks alright now. It doesn't look too off in colour. So there's a little life hack. If your base makeup is looking a bit too orange, a bit too deep, get a white translucent powder, whack a load of that on it. That might help to lighten it a bit. I feel like I can actually get away with my face now, like this. Yeah, that's okay now. I'm fine with the base now that I've done that. I mean, it still doesn't look perfect in colour, don't get me wrong, but I can leave the house and not be super embarrassed now. So for bronzer, I've got their terracotta powder in 01 Stardust. It looks like this. It's sort of more of a glowy bronzer. So I'm going to go ahead and whack this in my usual bronzing spots. Okay, it's very subtle, but I don't really mind that because I like a subtle bronzer anyway. I actually quite like that. I feel like it would show up better if my base matched me better. But yeah, that actually is a nice bronzer. It's very sort of glowy, illuminating. It's very subtle. But it works. I quite like that, but I feel like it would show up better if my base was matching better right now. I have a blush. This is their Luminous Silk Compact Blusher, and it's in the shade 02 Pink in Summer. And that's what the colour looks like. Very standard sort of pink colour. So I'm going to whack that on my cheeks and on my nose. Yeah, that blends out perfectly fine. Yeah, it's a nice blusher, nice pop of colour on the face. It is quite pigmented, but it does blend out like super seamlessly, so yeah, that's nice, I like it. I have a highlighter. This is their Baked Highlighter in 01 Moonlight. And it looks like this. It's a sort of like a goldy kind of highlighter. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop this on in the highlighting spots. Okay, so this highlighter is definitely quite subtle, quite natural. Like, you can definitely see it there. I feel like if you're into like a subtle highlight, then this is quite nice. It's quite like smoothing as well. So if you've got very textured skin, I feel like this highlighter would work with that. But I would like a little bit more pigment from it. It still looks quite nice though. It's like a sort of glow from within kind of thing. It's nice, but I think I'd want it to be a little bit more intense. So we're going to move on to brows. So this is their Brow Addict Tint and Shaping Gel. So it's a double-ended thing. It's got a gel on one end, and it's got a sort of, well, I guess this is also a gel. I think I'm just going to use the one with the spoolie on it just for time reasons today. I'm going to tap off the excess. It does have quite a bit of excess, which we don't love. Right, let's tap all of that off. I'm going to try and fill my brows in with this. It's done an okay job. I feel like it has quite a lot of excess on it. So I don't know if that's going to be my favourite brow gel, but it's done an okay job, I guess. They didn't have a brow pencil that I liked the look of, so I'm just going to use a pencil I already have just to define them a little bit more. Just using my Beauty Bay one. I somehow managed to get brow pencil on my chin, and honestly, I'm just so annoyed about it. I don't know how I'm going to get that off. Okay, going back to the eyes, I'm going to use a bit of the matte grey in this palette. And I'll wax some of that on the lower lash line. And a little bit of the orange. Fucking hell, maybe too much of the orange. And some more of the matte black. up to the bottom lash line. I'm going to put this white shade in the inner corner. Going back in with some more mascara. Moving on to lips, I have one of their Matte Ever lipsticks in the shade 03 Ethereal. It's a pretty nude shade. So I'm going to whack this on. So it definitely actually has got more of a matte finish. A lot of lipsticks I'll say they're aren't matte. This is matte. I like the shade. It's nude. I feel like it's looking like a little bit like it's sort of settling into the lines of my lips, as you can see. I don't know if that's just because I needed to hydrate my lips a bit more before I applied this. I like it, but it is a little bit cracky. That's all I will say on that. So that is everything. I'm going to go ahead, clean up any mess, sort my hair out, and I'll be back to talk about my final thoughts. Okay, so we are back with the finished look for face of Note Cosmetics. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the brand. I feel like majority of products I've tried today I've been really impressed with. Really like the eyeshadow palette, really like the kohl eyeliner, the mascara's pretty good too. Really like the foundation. Not so sure about the concealer. The actual formula of the powders is really good. Like, my skin looks super smooth. It's just the colour's an issue, obviously, and it's a bit like I don't really know if I'm going to be able to use it because of the colour. The cheap products, the blush was nice, the bronzer was nice. The highlighter is a little bit more subtle than what I usually go for, but it is still quite nice, and it's really good at like not emphasising your texture, which I know is a problem a lot of people have with highlighters, so it's good in that aspect. The lipstick, I feel like it's maybe a little bit too dry and it just sits into all the cracks in your lips, but I'm going to try like properly hydrating my lips before I use it in the future, and we'll see if I like it a bit more then. I'm not so sure about the brow product, a little bit too much excess for me. So I feel like most of the products I really liked, a couple that I'm not so sure about, but overall I'm glad that I tried this. Obviously I will be using all of this makeup and I will do an updated review on it, of course, but that is all for this video, so thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.